I was wrongfully accused of theft. People around me started whispering, casting suspicious glances. What no one knew was that I had a secret that would surprise everyone. My husband, a highly respected and feared man, was about to arrive. And when he found out what had happened to me, everything would change. My name is Ashley, and this is my story. It all started on a regular day. I was in the store, surrounded by shelves full of products that gleamed under the bright lights. The smell of cleaning products and fresh fruit mixed in the air, creating a calm atmosphere. Like any other day, I just needed to pick up a few items for dinner. Plan was to get in, grab what I needed, and leave. But suddenly, everything changed. "Hey you," a loud, authoritative voice called out, catching my attention. I turned around and saw the store's security guard walking quickly toward me. His eyes were fixed on my bag. My heart started racing. "You took something you weren't supposed to," he said without taking his eyes off me. I was shocked and confused. "I'm sorry, but I didn't take anything," I replied, my voice trembling. Panic started to take over. Even though there were several people around, it felt like everyone was looking only at me, as if I were the protagonist in a terrible movie I didn't want to be part of. "Ma'am, you need to come with me to the office," the security guard said firmly. I hesitated, not knowing what to do. I looked around, seeking some kind of support, but all I found were suspicious glances. A woman standing near me whispered to her friend. I knew she wasn't trustworthy. I felt my face grow hot. "This is a mistake," I pleaded, but the security guard was relentless. "Calm down, let's sort this out," he said, trying to sound calm, but his voice made it clear that he had already judged me. Even though he said it was just to clear things up, fear and shame began to take over. I was being accused of something I hadn't done, and the people around me seemed to have already decided I was guilty. The woman who had whispered earlier now pointed directly at me. I saw her put something in her bag. "It's not the first time I've seen this here," she said with disdain. Her words cut through me like a knife. I felt indignation rise in my face. "That's not true. I'm just doing my shopping like any other customer." I tried to defend myself, but my voice was already trembling. The security guard, with a look that showed he was certain of my guilt, led me to a secluded room at the back of the store. With each step, I felt the weight of everyone's stares, as if they were sticking labels of criminal on me. When we got to the office, the security guard told me to open my bag. With trembling hands, I opened my bag and showed him what I had bought: fruit, bread, and a bag of rice. "Is that all?" he asked, still suspicious. "Yes, I swear. That's all," I replied, barely able to speak, trying to control my nervousness. He carefully examined the items and then looked at me again, as if trying to figure out if I was hiding something. At that moment, the woman who had accused me entered the room and repeated her words. I saw her put something extra in the bag. "I don't trust her." The security guard nodded in agreement. "People like her can't be trusted," he said with disdain. Those words hit me like a sentence. What should have been an ordinary day had turned into a nightmare, and I was the target. "You can't accuse me like this. I'm not a thief," I cried, desperately trying to defend myself. "We're calling the police," he decided without even looking at me. That moment, my world collapsed. What would the people in my community think? How would I deal with this? I already felt condemned before I even had a chance to explain myself. I left the store with my heart racing and a terrible feeling that my life would never be the same. The sun was shining outside, but everything seemed gray and colorless to me. People on the street, some of whom I knew, looked at me with pity. Others simply passed by, indifferent, but the judgment in their eyes was clear. When I finally got home, I closed the door and felt even more suffocated. Michael, my husband, was in the living room reading, as he always did in the late afternoon. He looked up when he saw me and immediately knew something was wrong. "Ashley, what happened?" he asked, concern written all over his face. I tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. I felt the tears welling up in my eyes, and finally I broke down. I was accused of theft, I started, my voice faltering. A woman saw me in the store and accused me of stealing. The security guard took me to the office. The words started to pour out along with my tears. This can't be happening, Michael murmured, coming over to me. He took my hands in his eyes filled with concern. You didn't do anything, right? He asked, as if he already knew the answer. Of course not, I responded, indignant. But no one will believe me. All they see is the color of my skin, and they assume I'm a thief. Michael looked at me with both firmness and tenderness. Ashley, you need to calm down. The truth will come out, you know that. We're going to fix this together. Even with his supportive words, I was still overwhelmed by fear and shame. What would the people in our community think? I knew that from that moment on, I would be seen differently. The woman accused of theft. In the eyes of many, I was already guilty. In the following days, the feeling of despair only grew. Seemed like news of the accusation had spread throughout the town. I avoided leaving the house, afraid of the stares and comments. At the police station, everything felt even colder and more impersonal. When I went there to try to defend myself, I felt like no one was willing to listen to what I had to say. The officer who attended me crossed his arms, looked at me, and with complete indifference asked, "What do you want?" I explained that I had been wrongfully accused of theft, that I hadn't done anything, but he simply responded coldly, "Everyone says they didn't do it. Without proof, there's nothing I can do for you." Those words crushed me. I was there, vulnerable, trying to fight for my dignity, but it felt like no one wanted to hear me. I left the station with a bitter taste in my mouth, realizing that the fight would be much harder than I had imagined. When I got home, Michael was waiting for me in the living room. He saw the expression on my face and came over to me. "What happened?" he asked gently. I couldn't do it. The officer didn't want to listen to me, I replied, sitting on the couch and covering my face with my hands. Michael hugged me. "Ashley, don't give up. We'll find a way to resolve this." I looked at him, feeling a mix of hope and fear. "I don't know what to do, Michael. I don't have a lawyer, and I don't know how to defend myself." Michael leaned forward, looking into my eyes. "I can help. I'm a lawyer. I work for a big firm, and I can use my contacts to support you." I hesitated, feeling ashamed. "Michael, I don't want you to get involved because of me. This is my fight. I can't drag you into this." He looked at me with a firmness I didn't expect. "You're my wife, Ashley, and we're in this together. Let me help you." There was something in his determination that gave me strength. He was willing to fight for me, and I knew I couldn't carry this burden alone. In the following days, we started putting together a plan. Michael managed to access security camera footage from the store, and together we watched the video that could change everything. The recordings showed that I hadn't done anything wrong. On the contrary, they revealed that the woman who had accused me, named Jessica, seemed to be involved in something suspicious. As we watched the footage, Michael said, "Look, Ashley, you were just shopping. You didn't do anything wrong. We're going to use this evidence in our favor." But I was still nervous. What if no one believes us? What if they say the footage was tampered with? Michael held my hand. "Ashley, sometimes the truth is hard to see through prejudice, but we're going to fight for it." That conversation gave me strength. I realized this wasn't just a fight for my innocence, it was a fight for justice. I wanted other women who had gone through similar situations to know they weren't alone. As I talked to Michael, an idea began to form in my mind. What if I could do more? I asked. "What do you mean?" Michael replied. "A project to help women who have gone through injustices like this. If I can prove my innocence, maybe I can help others rise up too." Michael smiled, proud. "That's an amazing idea, Ashley. You've always had this strength inside you. Now's the time to let it shine." And that's how, in addition to fighting for my innocence, I began planning a project to empower women in my community. Michael and I spoke with various people, and little by little support grew. On the day of the trial, I felt a mix of nerves and determination. When we entered the courtroom, the tension was palpable. But with Michael by my side, I knew we had the truth on our side. The judge reviewed the evidence, and in the end, my innocence was proven. Jessica, the true culprit, was exposed and arrested. A wave of relief and happiness washed over me. I had not only proven my innocence, but I came out of the situation stronger than ever.